WENY-TV's Walter Smith-Randolph spoke with swap shop owners today and joins us live in the studio with more. Walter?
Renata, not only do swap shops have to wait 30 days, they also have to report daily what they bought from people and who they bought it from. The reaction I got today on this new policy is mixed, but one swap shop owner was not happy to see me. This is public property. I'm allowed to be here. This is public property, sir. Sir, this is public property. Sir, this is public property. This is public property. That's the owner of Sammy's Swap Shop. He's not happy about the city's crackdown on stores like his. But his reaction doesn't speak for all swap shop owners in Elmira.
Kelly J. Swap Shop, can I help you?
Gerald Lee owns the College Avenue Swap Shop.
It's going to be a good thing. If I can help take tram off the street, then I want to take and help them every bit I can.
That's one of the first places that we will tell people to check if their property's stolen.
Swap shop owners now have to wait 30 days before they can sell anything brought into their stores, allowing more time for people to recover items possibly stolen from them and then sold. Stores will also have to fill out more paperwork. This is one of the new forms swap shop owners will have to fill out. They'll also have to submit it to the police department every day. It has important information on it, like how much they paid for the merchandise and who sold it to them.
I just hope it does a trick for them, that they're able to enforce it.
Now, if a swap shop unknowingly sells stolen property, the police will arrest the person that sold it to the shop, but there's no way for the shop to get their money back. Reporting live in the studio, Walter Smith-Randolph, WENY-TV News. Renata?
WENY-TV's Walter Smith-Randolph joins us live in the studio. Walter, how much mail are we talking about here?
Dozens of pieces of mail, Renata. Neighbors in Trumansburg are going to their mailboxes looking for holiday cards, and they're finding nothing's there. 'Twas the week before Christmas, and somewhere in the village, there's a mail thief waiting to pillage.
I mean, that's just horrible.
The thief is staking out mailboxes looking for cash. After the mail is delivered, the Grinch will steal it and dash.
I think it's a pretty crappy thing to do right before Christmas. At any time, it's a crappy thing to do, but especially at Christmas time.
What the Grinch doesn't want, he discards without a care. Neighbors here in Trumansburg say that's not fair.
Go and ask for help at a church or go to the Salvation Army, but don't resort to stealing from other people. That's just not right.
So don't send money in the mail, warns the police chief, because somewhere in Trumansburg there's a holiday thief.
I would suggest most of the people drive over to the post office and put it in the drop box of their outgoing mail, you know, and try to pick up their incoming mail until this gets resolved, you know what I mean?
I will not leave. I would not leave a gift out again because of this.
Chief Ferretti says they've recovered a lot of the discarded mail out in the woods. They're trying to get that mail back to its owners, but it's mostly damaged goods. Reporting live in the studio, Walter Smith-Randolph, WENY-TV News. Renata?
As WENY-TV's Walter Smith-Randolph tells us, friends and family of Trias Clayton are relieved.
And he took them away. But he didn't have the right to do that.
Brian Ashline may never set foot outside of a prison again. He was found guilty of murdering his ex-girlfriend Trias Clayton and their son Xavier Ashline. Ashline says he lost control Father's Day 2010, the night of the double homicide.
I sincerely believe in the extreme emotional disturbance defense. In this case, there's no question in my mind that the kettle steamed over.
But the jury didn't buy it. They found Ashline guilty on all charges. 2 counts of murder in the first degree, 2 counts of murder in the second degree, 1 count of aggravated criminal contempt, and criminal possession of a weapon. Police found that weapon, a kitchen knife, in the stomach of Ashline's son, Xavier, that night.
Obviously, I'm pleased, but I mean, the fact is that in these situations, there really are no winners.
One thing that could have been done differently to produce a different outcome is Trias Clayton saying, yes, you can have your son for the weekend. We wouldn't be here.
No comment from Ashline's mother and aunt, who heard the verdict in court on Wednesday. But for Cynthia and Scott Watson, a little bit of closure.
If you could say anything to Brian, what would you say?
I probably shouldn't say that on camera. And I mean that sincerely. The one thing I would say that would be appropriate for camera is that he had absolutely no right to feel powerful enough to take the life of my child, who was so close to perfect.
Ashline's sentencing date is set for December 21st. He now faces life in prison without the possibility of parole. Reporting in Bath, Walter Smith-Randolph, WENY-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Renata Steele.
And I'm Walter Smith-Randolph. Scott is off tonight.
For the 13th year, the Greater Valley EMS is partnering with Williams Toyota of Sayre to ensure a safe New Year's Eve for neighbors in the valley.
Greater Valley EMS officials say since the program started, there hasn't been a DUI fatality in the valley on New Year's Eve, and they want to keep it that way.
People are actually really glad to see us, and they're happy. Mostly intoxicated, but they're happy.
That's a sound you don't want to hear on New Year's Eve. That's why Greater Valley EMS and Williams Toyota of Sayre are partnering up to run the Safe Ride Home program this weekend. They want to make sure you don't end up on the other side of this door.
It's chaos. It's ugly. It's sad. It's unfair. It's, it's hard to explain.
Sonia Bement and Kevin Horn say it's their duty to provide these rides.
These are the neighbors that we serve every day, and we're obligated morally, I believe, to keep them safe.
So if we can save one person or two people or 102 people, that's really important in our community.
So before you start your car on New Year's, ask yourself, am I sober enough to drive? If the answer is no, give the Greater Valley EMS a call. After all, it won't cost you a thing.
It's free. It's absolutely free. This is something that we budget for as the year goes, and we also get lots of donations.
Now, the program only services a 10-mile radius around the valley. If you need a ride, give them a call at 570-888-6000.
Back in the studio with part one of Made in the Twin Tiers. Walter?
Sky and Renata, these candy turtles may be a tiny treat, but making them is a big job. There's a big company that makes a small treat in Big Flats. Turtles. About 200 employees from across the Twin Tiers come to work each day to make the chocolate treasure.
We make candy, and candy puts smiles on people's faces.
Plant manager J.R. Razor came from DeMetz, Pennsylvania plant when the Big Flats operation opened in 2009, right in the middle of a recession.
Candy or confectionaries actually thrive when the economy turns because people look for that immediate satisfaction.
Every DeMetz employee, regardless of their job function, has to come through here. It's called the washroom. They got to get rolled up before they hit the production floor. So we're going to go inside and see what it takes to make these little guys. After robing up, we hit shipping and receiving. That's where it all starts. The Big Flats plant churns out 1.5 million turtles a day. That's 45,000 pounds of chocolate each day. And it starts with the caramel.
Without the caramel, you don't got the turtle.
Luke Kircher is the caramel cook. He makes sure 25,000 pounds of caramel is made every day. After the caramel is made, some nuts are added to start the process of making a turtle. After the nuts are added, the turtles are sent through a chocolate enrober.
As long as they come out of the enrober with chocolate and everybody looks like a little soldier heading down to the final stage, we're happy. About 1,000 to 1,200 turtles a minute.
The turtles, the ones that make it, are then cooled before they hit the packing floor. And that's where the hard work comes into play. We're at the hand pack line. You may have seen this from like I Love Lucy, but we won't be stuffing these chocolates down my shirt. We're going to be putting them into the laid down box lines, right, Linda?
Correct.
So what are we doing here?
What we're doing is you take them off the line.
Take two off the line.
Two off the line and put it right there.
Put it right there, okay.
And then the next person puts it in the lay down box.
Gotcha. Okay. It doesn't take long to figure out getting those turtles into the boxes is no easy task. I lasted about 45 seconds. Okay, I quit. I quit. I'm done. I'm going back to reporting, Linda. I can't do this. I can't. Individually wrapped candies go through a machine, a really fast-moving machine. Then it's back to shipping and receiving. And that's how every single turtle that hits shelves across America is made, right here in Big Flats.
It's one of the best confectionaries in the country.
All right, next week we'll visit a Horseheads company that developed a tracking program that helps the government save millions of dollars. Reporting live in the studio, Walter Smith-Randolph, WENY-TV News.
WENY-TV's Walter Smith-Randolph was in Scranton for the president's visit and has more with this story.
President Barack Obama took to the stage at Scranton High School this afternoon talking taxes.
I've taken office, I've cut your taxes. Your taxes today, the average middle-class family, your taxes today are lower than when I took office.
President Obama made the stop in Scranton to promote the American Jobs Act, a piece of legislation the president says will give a boost to the economy and create more jobs for Americans.
This is a jobs bill that will put more Americans to work, put more money back into the pockets of working families. It contains ideas that historically have been supported by Democrats and Republicans.
For some of the 1,500 who came from near and far, hearing about job creation is exactly what they need.
Well, you know, we're students. We're in a tough bind. The economy seems dumpy, and we want to know what this American Jobs Act is all about. You know, we're really concerned about the future.
We're both in debt, and we want to hear some real answers.
Yeah, I hope I hear something good today about jobs, because this country is definitely hurting. I mean, we definitely need some more jobs.
President Obama says his plan will give the average American family a savings of $1,000. The tax cut is already in place. The battle between Congress and the president is over extending those breaks.
If Congress doesn't act to extend this tax cut, then most of you, the typical middle-class family, is going to see your taxes go up by $1,000 at the worst possible time.
Now, those tax cuts do expire on January 1st. Today, House Speaker John Boehner says he also agrees Americans need some tax relief. But the question remains, who will pay for the tax cuts? Reporting from Scranton, Walter Smith-Randolph, WENY-TV News.
And the president headed out of Scranton and headed for New York City, where he'll give pretty much the same presentation.
Scott and Renata, garbage lines village streets and water is still being pumped out of basements in Owego. But through the devastation, neighbors say they're coming together to help each other out. This was a living room. This is what's left of a kitchen. And this line on the wall shows how high the water rose in Mary Liberty's living room.
My basement was completely full. It was rising up the stairs, and it sounded just like a river running through my basement. And within half an hour, it was at the top of my first floor.
Mary and her neighbors are surveying the damage today, trying to save what they can.
We all on this street was devastated. It came up so quick, but the whole village is like that. It's so sad that I don't know what they're going to do.
This is Spencer Street. You can hear the sounds of generators behind me pumping water out of still flooded basements. While neighbors say this block was completely devastated, they're grateful that people are coming from near and far to help them clean up. Firefighters from Sullivan County, nearly 3.5 hours away, were helping neighbors today.
And we came down because we're firemen and we want to help. And it's a wonderful thing when you can help somebody else in life.
And this village ain't going nowhere. We're going to come back, and it's going to take a while, but just surviving through the emotional stress right now is the worst part.
To find out where you can donate supplies, visit WENY.com and click on this story. Reporting live in the studio, Walter Smith-Randolph, WENY-TV News.
TV's Walter Smith-Randolph was there when Cuomo signed the bill. He joins us live in the studio with more. Walter?
Scott and Renata, the farmers I spoke with today say they're still recovering, and they're glad the state is offering more help. The Englebarts are still trying to rebuild their Tioga County farm. It was devastated by flooding from Tropical Storm Lee.
We lost a lot. We had Soil and Water come in and do an assessment the week after the flood, and they figured over $1.2 million.
Lisa's family is glad to hear Governor Cuomo is trying to help them recover.
All right.
$21 million of the $50 million grant program will help small businesses and farms. Each farm can apply for up to $20,000 in aid.
We want to make sure that people have the financial support that they need, and the state is doing everything that it can do to provide that financial support.
While the $20,000 grant doesn't come close to what the Englebarts lost, they say they'll take all the help they can get.
We're not the kind of people that like government help. We like to do things on our own. But this is a little different situation.
Head on over to WENY.com. We have a link in this story with more information on the program. Reporting live in the studio, Walter Smith-Randolph, WENY-TV News. Renata?
Tonight, WENY-TV's Walter Smith-Randolph joins us first with the story out of the Northern Tier. Walter?
Scott and Renata, emergency responders could barely keep up trying to keep people safe from flooding roads. The heavy rains even led to a water rescue. This was the Towanda Creek in Monroeton shortly before noon today. Heavy rains flooded areas and shut down roads.
Yeah, a lot of water. Water's over just about every part of the road up here in Northeast. 220, 187, 87, Dew Shore's underwater, New Albany's underwater.
But people still needed to get home. The driver of this SUV thought he could make it across this flooded road. He was wrong.
Evidently, someone tried driving through standing water in a roadway, which is something you don't want to do in something like this. And if you do, stay in your car. You got cell phone, call 911.
The Towanda Water Rescue Team responded to the scene and rescued him. The driver is now safe, but we can't say the same for his car.
If there's water, turn around, don't drown.
Now, around 1:30 this afternoon, the Northeast Bradford School District posted a message on its website saying they couldn't get students home safely, so they're keeping the kids in the schools where it's safe and dry. Stay tuned to WENY-TV News and WENY.com, and we'll let you know if schools will be open tomorrow. Reporting live in the studio, Walter Smith-Randolph, WENY-TV News.
WENY-TV's Walter Smith-Randolph was in the Cannon Hole neighborhood where people were airlifted to safety. We have team coverage again tonight. He joins us live in the studio with more. Walter?
Scott and Renata, Cannon Hole neighbors are used to watching the Susquehanna rise, but they haven't seen it like this before. The sounds of a helicopter rescuing neighbors and the sound of the mighty Susquehanna roaring is too much for the Babcock family of Cannon Hole. Their home has flooded before, but never like this.
We left this morning. We boated out when it started coming in the door. We're going to lose everything we got again.
Right behind me is the Susquehanna River, which has been overflowing its banks all day, flooding homes and even shutting down roads. Now, if we pan over, you can hear a helicopter. People are trapped inside of their homes here in Barton, and they've been being rescued by helicopters all day long. And once this helicopter is done with this rescue, it's headed down to Pennsylvania, where 3 people are trapped on a tree along the Susquehanna River. The Babcocks were rescued by boat. While they're happy they got out alive, they're devastated because they don't think they'll be able to rebuild again.
A lot of water. We spent the night here last night. We left shortly after 7 this morning. I'll probably never get into a boat again. That was probably the scariest experience I've ever had in my life.
Now, Cannon Hole is not protected by a flood wall. Water levels for the Susquehanna River near Waverly broke records today, cresting at 25 feet. Reporting live in the studio, Walter Smith-Randolph, WENY-TV News.
Aftermath in Towanda, WENY-TV's Walter Smith-Randolph joins us live in the studio with more. Walter?
Scott and Renata, the Susquehanna River near Towanda reached 30 feet. That's the second highest level ever, just 3 feet lower than the levels during Hurricane Agnes. The water ripped up roads and left downtown Towanda a muddy mess. Northern Tier neighbors are still without power tonight as the Susquehanna River recedes. They're out surveying the damage, taking a first glimpse at what they have to clean up and rebuild.
Ivan was up, it ran over top of the road just maybe 6 or 7 inches, but nothing compared to what went through here within the last couple days.
This is Route 6 in North Towanda Township. The water in the creek behind me was moving so fast it literally picked up the asphalt off of the road, turning it sideways like it was silly putty. This is a piece of the center divide. It's now where the guardrails should be.
Just to see what the water can do, it's amazing the power of what water can do in a short period of time. So it's pretty amazing.
This is the Towanda Borough Hall where the water from the Susquehanna River got so high it came up to the front doorsteps. Now crews are on the streets trying to clean up the mud that's left behind. It's all over me, and if you don't have boots, good luck getting around town.
This whole place was just flooded. I mean, I can't believe it. I mean, a lot of people can't believe it around here.
Tonight, about 5,000 people in the Towanda area still have no power, and they don't know when the lights will come back on. Reporting live in the studio, Walter Smith-Randolph, WENY-TV News.
WENY-TV's Walter Smith-Randolph spent some time in the pig pen today and joins us live in the studio with more. Walter.
Scott and Renata, Farm Sanctuary rescues dozens of animals from flooding, but the caregivers in Watkins Glen say there's something different about this little piggy. It's hog heaven at Farm Sanctuary, and the pig pen has a new addition. Meet Jane. Yep, she eats just like a pig, and she's allowed to. It's all a part of her recovery after she almost drowned during flooding that hit Chemung County.
She had such a strong will to live. I mean, she was being pushed down a flooded creek. There were boulders being pushed out of yards by this floodwater, and yet this teeny tiny 10-pound piglet found the strength to crawl up on the bank.
A Wellsburg neighbor saw the piglet and rescued it.
Jane was completely purple and shivering, so Betty massaged her and warmed her up. But, you know, she knew that a pig was going to be better off here at Farm Sanctuary.
The caregivers here at Farm Sanctuary are keeping a close eye on Jane, making sure she wasn't harmed by the flooding. And once she gets a little bit bigger, she'll meet her companion, Sebastian. Sebastian was rescued from the 2008 flooding in Iowa.
Here she'll be able to live out her life in peace. She won't ever be used in any way, so she'll be able to just kind of enjoy herself and be an ambassador for other piglets.
The caregivers at Farm Sanctuary say it's important to move your animals to higher ground when there's a chance of flooding. If you must leave them behind, make sure you keep the barn door open. It'll increase their chances of survival. Reporting live in the studio, Walter Smith-Randolph, WENY-TV News.
I mean, these guys took them in, but they don't care for them like we would.
Animal shelters throughout the Twin Tiers are bursting at the seams. They've taken in lots of pets displaced by flooding, and now those pets have no place to go. Good evening, I'm Renata Steele.
I'm Scott Cook. Thanks for choosing Twin Tiers tonight. Hundreds, at least hundreds, if not thousands of people throughout the Twin Tiers still without homes tonight, and so are a lot of their pets.
Some local animal shelters say they can't accept any more pets because they simply don't have the space. WENY-TV's Walter Smith-Randolph joins us live in the studio with our continuing coverage. Walter?
Scott, Renata, Stray Haven in Waverly is used to taking in pets off the streets, but after the flooding, it's getting difficult for the animal shelter to feed and give attention to the cats and dogs. That's a cry for help. Nino needs some attention and a new home. There's no doubt the Johnsons love their Siberian Husky, but after their home flooded, they had to bring Nino to Stray Haven.
I heard. So you can't come see him all the time?
You can't find no place because nobody accepts animals, and it's hard.
The Johnsons are living in an RV and don't know when they'll find a new place.
We're overcrowded, understaffed. It's a lot more work for the staff to take care of the animals and clean and feed them every day.
Because of the flooding, lots of animals are being abandoned. These little guys are about 7 weeks old, and they were found at the end of a driveway.
People either lost their animals and don't know where to look for them, or aren't able to take care of them anymore, so they just dump them off at the first place they can find.
And what should they do instead?
Call us. Or call any SPCA.
Now, Stray Haven is working with other shelters to find space. The shelter goes through 100 pounds of dog food a day and could use some donations. Log on to WENY.com and click on this story to find out how you can help. Reporting live in the studio, Walter Smith-Randolph, WENY-TV News. Sri Ram Hathwar is a 5th grader at Chemung Valley Montessori School. His classmates crowded around the big screen today.
D-E-G-R-I-N.
The 11-year-old is competing in the Scripps National Spelling Bee.
G-O-L-A-G-E.
With the correct spelling of Degrangala, Sriram is headed to the championship round tonight, and his classmates expected nothing less.
He's just a really good speller, you know, like you kind of expect him to win.
Sriram first qualified for the DC preliminaries in 2008. He was an 8-year-old second grader, the youngest contestant ever to reach that level. Since then, he's been to 3 of the last 4 national spelling bees.
He's just a very humble, unassuming person. He's a really great kid, and spelling is just one of his enthusiasms.
Sriram's really good. I doubt I could ever surpass him. Maybe, maybe not.
Sriram's classmates are staying tuned, spelling right along with him.
WINNING.